Tell me about TV wall brackets and flat screen TVs for my RV. That's what we're going to talk about in Staying on the Road today. Now, in the RV Life, enjoying the RV Life segment, we're going to talk about RV party planning. Is it possible to do in an RV on the road? Of course it is. You can have a party anywhere. And then once again, we're going to go on a road trip. And this week, we're going to go to the Albuquerque Ballon Festival in New Mexico. And that's in the next stop. Then we're going to wrap up the show with RV Envy. And in that section, we're going to talk about RV levels and blocks. So physical levels and physical blocks. Physical blocks. So this is Eric Stark with the Smart RVer Podcast, delivering the smarts you need to enjoy the freedom of the RV lifestyle without the fear of breaking down. Today is episode 143. And Alexis, you're here.
I'm here.
You're here.
Recovering.
Still recovering.
Yes. In the midst.
It's been a long 2 weeks, huh?
Whatever.
All right. So we have a lot of good things to talk about today. You know, do you remember? Well, you don't remember. A lot of people remember. If they don't, they can ask someone who does. But back in the 70s, cars were, well, they were coming off the era of the 60s with the muscle cars. Mm-hmm. You know, they were keeping it going in the early 70s a little bit. You know, some pretty cool, fast cars back then. But people were getting kind of tired of it because everything was about speed, you know, sport. There was no family cars to speak of. It just shifted gears, and that's what the car industry has always done. The EPA kicks in, and they start laying down all these rules, make it hard for car manufacturers to do this and do that, especially, you know, the performance cars. Oh, can't have that, you know.
Of course.
So that kicks in. The cars were a little bit bigger. So they start trying to change the car market, and they eventually did. You know, Detroit eventually came to their senses and listened to the consumers and started making cars that they thought were more practical for what people wanted. Now, you get into the 80s, there was a lot of junk there. You know, you go back in time, cars, you know, 100,000 miles, you get rid of the car. In the 80s, they were trying to change that. Chrysler came out with the K cars, which were actually decent cars. They just weren't that aesthetically pleasing. In other words, they were ugly. But they were changes. And cars have evolved quite a bit today. And car manufacturers still don't always listen. They try to, but they don't quite get it, what consumers really want, like electric vehicles. Consumers don't want electric vehicles. They're choking on these things. Now, in some cases, they didn't have a choice. The manufacturers were told to make these cars by the government. So now they're choking on it. But nonetheless, sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. Now, the RV industry, I don't know if they ever listen to people because what we see today is low-quality RVs being pushed off the assembly lines and dealerships that don't really care. People need to speak up. Change your buying patterns. Start looking at used RVs. And I'm going to talk about this more in episode 143. But just keep that in mind, you know, that the car manufacturers kind of listen. They do make adjustments, and sometimes they take it too far and they fail. But we see in the RV industry, they're trying to make more creature comforts, but a less quality RV, and it doesn't really work. We need to have quality RVs. So consider that, how you're going to buy your next RV. Is it going to be new? Is it going to be used? Somebody knows buy an RV. You're going to talk them into new? You're going to talk them into used. It's up to you. I don't want to be the guy that brings down the entire RV industry. Yeah, I probably won't. But anyway, just give you something to think about. All right, let's get into enjoying the RV life, because now we're talking about parties.
Yeah, right.
Everybody likes a good party, especially when you get a pony to ride or something.
Every party, yeah.
All right, but an RV party, you're probably not going to have a pony. So, Alexis, why do we need a guide to planning a party? A memorable party.
A memorable party.
While RVing.
Well, I don't think many people think about it. Like when you go RVing, that's kind of the trip, you know? But how fun would it be to get everybody together with their RVs, or maybe not with their RVs? Just invite a bunch of people to your RV and have a party.
Yep.
Be awesome. I mean, for one, it'd be less cleanup, you know? Nobody's going to be inside. It's probably outside, and it won't be at your house, hopefully. Don't do that. So maybe a big spot or a location where you can kind of spread out scenic views, maybe have picnic tables, fire pits, everything's there for a perfect party. So looking for somewhere like that would be nice.
Yeah, so that makes me think of the sand dunes like in Arizona, Lamis in California, where all the RVers converge on there in the wintertime, and they have these big wagon trains or circles, and they have big bonfires and stuff.
Yep, exactly.
Now, that probably is a little too much.
Be cool.
But it still gives you the idea. You don't have to have 20 RVs. You don't have to have 10. You could do it with 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just getting together with more than yourself.
Exactly.
And having a good time. And this is on our website, Enjoying the RV Life. It's about on the road, having a party or online. I'm not sure what the title of the one. I'm looking at the title.
Yeah, I know. It's different.
So anyways, it's on the website about having memorable parties in your RV.
Yes.
But there's many points here, and they're all valid, and gives you things to think about, how to plan, and maybe some things that you wouldn't think of that you would normally do that also, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Finding an RV park maybe where you can get all the RVs together.
Yeah.
Some of the more older RV parks or ones in the rural areas where they don't have all the concrete, more grass type areas sometimes are friendlier to that.
Right, exactly.
Or an RV park might have an area where they have a big picnic type area with barbecues and things like that where you could go and cook and have a good time, kind of like a park setting.
Yeah.
But it's a good idea. And even in here, it brings out this point about inviting your neighbors to it as well. So if you're in the campground and you got some neighbors that, aren't annoying you, you might want to invite them as well. But maybe you don't like your neighbors at the campground, so you want to have a raging party then.
Right. Beware.
Just kidding. But anyway, so it's just a reminder that, out on the road, there's a lot of things you can do that sometimes we don't do.
Right, exactly.
And, generally, if you own an RV, you always have friends that have an RV. And maybe planning a trip together once a year. Yep. Make it an annual thing, the big whatever, and have the kids there, have the party, for kids, adults, everybody.
Yep.
And the kids will certainly like it, and you will too.
Be fun.
All right, so that's for planning a party. Now, again, another reminder, just to keep the Smart RVer Podcast at the top of your list. Recommend us to your friends and family and anybody you know with an RV. Like I said in the past episode, we want to build on our growth for 2024, and we need you to help us with that. We'll keep providing the quality content, and you keep recommending us and liking us and all that good stuff. Now let's get to staying on the road, and we're going to talk about TVs and wall brackets and flat screen TVs, all that fun stuff that comes with an RV and part of the entertainment world that we have to have with us all the time, whether it's a TV, a phone, a tablet. Somehow we got to have entertainment. But a lot of RVs come with flat screen TVs in them. And so that's the one fixture in an RV that always seems to get my attention whenever I walk into an RV. It doesn't matter how big the flat screen TV is, where it's located in the RV, or even the quality of the TV. There's so many brands. We talked about that last episode, brands. Heck, that plays right into TVs. There's a lot of low quality TVs out there. So that TV, it just gets my attention, and it probably gets a lot of people's attention for many reasons. It's there. Generally, they're big. They kind of command your eyes to zoom in on them. They stand out regardless of where they're at, how they're mounted. They just are there. It's a fixture in the room. That gets my attention, but it gets my attention even more than a TV mounted to the wall? When you walk in an RV and that flat screen TV is lying on the floor and it's broken into pieces. Now that's going to get your attention. And you look at it and you go, wow, somehow that fell off the wall. Huh, wow, bummer. And it probably happened while they were traveling because it's bouncing down the road, and that's when things fall apart in an RV. They typically don't fall apart when you're just sitting there. It's when you're going down the road. It's funny. Isn't it ironic? The thing that it's made for is going down the road, but yet it's not built durable enough to withstand going down the road. Huh. Probably a word for that. Stupidity? No. Anyway. So why would this TV have fallen off the wall? Yeah, there could be several reasons why. Not sure what you might be thinking for reasons, but here's what I got. That the bracket wasn't mounted correctly. That could be the issue. So let's explore that before we go on to the other problem that it could be. So in my mind, there's only a couple things that can really happen here. You might be looking at a different picture, but that's what I see. So the bracket has to be mounted to the wall correctly, and generally it needs to be mounted to the studs, the upright studs that hold the wall together that support the RV, just like a house. And house has 2x4s, RV has toothpicks or something a little bit bigger, but it's not a 2x4. So it has to be mounted to the studs, or it has to be mounted in an area that's designated by the manufacturer of the RV that has been designed to support the weight of the TV and the bracket. You got the TV and the bracket. Sometimes we just look at the TV as the weight, but the brackets, sometimes they have a little weight to them as well. And when you're mounting something to an RV wall, weight does matter. So this has to be done correctly. You can't cheat here. You might try, but it just won't work. RV walls are not built like walls in a house. They're 2x2s, 1.5 by 1.5. It depends. Sometimes the studs might be aluminum, might be metal, but plan on it being wood for the most part. And in a house, it's different. You have 2x4s. The house isn't bouncing down the road. You can literally mount a TV bracket to the drywall with the proper anchors. It's not going to go anywhere because the house doesn't bounce. Now, if you live in Southern California and there's an earthquake, maybe different story. It's going to tear the drywall off. But heck, that's an earthquake. You live in Southern California. Whatever. It's the way it happens. It's built differently. And so when the manufacturer is building the RV, if they feel that that's where the TV is going to go, they're going to build it right into the wall. And usually they get it right. They don't skimp there. It's one of the things they do get right most of the time. So now this might be pretty obvious to some, like, oh yeah, well, no duh, that's how you'd have to mount it, either where they want you to, or it has to mount to the studs. But, some people might not realize that paneling is really thin, less than 1/4 of an inch, and it's just stapled to the wall. And, if you mounted a TV bracket to it, it might hold it while you're sitting there. It might stay there forever, depending on how you mounted it to the paneling. But it's when you go down the road and it starts bouncing around where now it's going to pull that TV off with the bracket. So the paneling could literally just break, or it could pull away from the wall, pull all the staples out. And so that can create a lot more damage than just a broken TV. Now you got paneling that can be destroyed that you can't match, and now you got a problem. Now you might think that you can put a TV on that wall and just take it off when you're traveling. That might be the case if the bracket for the TV is fairly light. You still want to think twice about that, though, because once that paneling starts coming apart, you've got a problem. Now, suppose you want to add a TV to that special place on the wall. It's just where you want the TV, but it might not even be possible to do it. So keep in mind, at the bare minimum, you'll need to have power there. So power is a different story in RV. Again, it's not like a house. You can't just make holes in the drywall, run power, and patch it up, and, you can never tell. RVs aren't like that. So you have to think about that. Is power going to be nearby wherever you want this TV? Even if the cord's exposed, that's okay. Some things we can look at, because that's where we want the TV. And you'll also need an HDMI outlet or a cable outlet, something to receive the signal for the TV. Unless it's a smart TV and you have an internet access with wireless, so then the TV connect over the internet, which is great. That eliminates that. All you need is a power outlet. But those are things you have to consider. So you can't just slap a TV up anywhere and go, okay, now work TV. Now, if it's a smart TV, like I said, it might, if you have internet in your RV, but you might not always have internet, so you have to consider that. With smart TVs, you can get Roku boxes, Amazon Fire Sticks, there's a plethora of things you can just attach that work off the internet that give you everything you need. You can even attach a tablet to a TV or a phone and have your shows already downloaded on it if you wanted to go that route. And that could even be a dumb TV as long as it has an HDMI port on it. So those are options. And having a TV for a lot of people is very important because it's easier to watch. If you like watching TV with your family, it keeps the family together and it makes sense. But where you put it has to make sense and how the manufacturer does it. So now let's get to the other side of this, the other problem that can happen with TVs. Even when the TV comes from the factory, it comes with the RV. It's mounted where it's supposed to be on the wall. So the manufacturer said, this is where the TV goes, and on that assembly line, The guy sets down his beer, takes a needle out of his arm, and he mounts the TV wall bracket where it should be. Okay, so that's done. And so the TV's on there, and you go to the dealership. Oh, that's the RV I want. And you buy it. The TV's mounted there, and you take it home. You go on a couple trips, and finally that scenario happens. You walk into your RV, and the TV's laying on the floor in pieces. How did that happen? Everything was where it's supposed to be. The manufacturer couldn't have messed this one up, could they? Well, they could have. They got the TV bracket in the right place on the wall. It's mounted. It's rock solid. In fact, it didn't even come off the wall. It's just the TV's laying on the floor, and part of the bracket's with it, or none of the bracket's with it. What the heck is going on here? You're trying to figure this out. So you look at the TV closer, and on the back of it, where the 4 holes are, where the screws are, the threads, see, that's called a Visa pattern. And all TVs have them, all modern TVs that are for wall mounts. And there's different size Visa patterns, but it's standard patterns. So if it's a small one, medium, large, they're standard sizes, and all TV brackets come with everything to accommodate all the different sizes. That's why when you buy a bracket kit, it has like 400 screws in it, 13 pieces of metal with holes in it. So it fits any TV out there. But the problem is, it's not the Visa pattern. It's not the screws. You know, the threads were put in there properly. But where the Visa pattern is put, where it's designed to be mounted on the back of the TV, it's mounted on a piece of plastic that is either held onto the back of the TV with tiny little screws, or it snaps into the back. And that does not work in an RV. You need to have a TV that the whole back is one piece, so it can't break apart like that. And this isn't as uncommon as you might think, because there's so many TVs and brands out there, and manufacturers buy whatever will work. If they're looking for a 36-inch TV, they could care less about the quality. They're going to buy a 36-inch TV. They're going to buy 1,000 of them, 100 of them, whatever. And they're going to slap them puppies up and ship them. It's not their problem. And it's really not, because you're just going to go buy another TV and put it up there. And you might go to one of the big stores, Walmart, one of them places, and not take it out of the box, not look at the back of it, and get home and have the exact same problem down the road. So if you're going to replace that TV or add one to your RV, make sure not only the bracket is installed in the right place, but also that the TV has the right backing on it to support itself going down the road. If your RV's never going to move, it's stationary, you know it's never going to move, then just buy anything you want and mount it to the wall. It doesn't really matter as far as the TV goes. You still want to get the bracket up right, but the TV won't matter. But if that RV is designed to go down the road, then you certainly want to make sure that that TV is the correct one. And a lot of new RVs don't come with a TV. They don't even come with a bracket on the wall, but it'll be marked on the wall, you know, TV goes here. And that's where the bracket would go. So you still have to, it rules out the manufacturer's element of making the mistake and puts it in your hands now. So don't be like the manufacturer. Be the smart RVer and mount the TV properly. So when you go into your RV after you've been driving down the road for 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 hours, you get into the RV, it's not laying on the floor. That will ruin a trip if you're counting on having that TV. So a little bit of advice there, and this is one of these things that kind of slips under the radar sometimes, but pay close attention to it. Now, again, I want to ask everybody to share this episode with their friends and families. Anybody that owns an RV, we're trying to build up our growth out there, our listens, our watches, our whatevers. So we thank you for that and for sharing it with others and for listening. We really appreciate that. We put a lot of work into the show, and hopefully it pays off for you. So now we're going to go to the next stop. And Alexis, where are you taking us to today?
All right, Eric, we're going to New Mexico, Albuquerque specifically, to see the balloons.
The balloons.
Just, the little ones with helium. No.
So is this like the spy balloon that went over the U.S. earlier in 2023?
Yeah, just like that one.
So is this where you go? You want to shoot them down or no?
I mean, that would actually be really fun. They should have that. No, we're talking the big balloons, the hot air balloons. balloons.
These are not spy balloons.
Not spy balloons.
These are friendly balloons.
Yeah, they might have Snoopy on them, so they're pretty cute.
Yeah, so those are cool.
Yeah,
so
very.
Tell us about it.
So this is an annual thing that they do in New Mexico, and it's just so cool. There's so many different balloons, so many colors. They have it, I think it's about 3 days long. I kind of looked into this because I want to go. It'd be really fun. And they've got everything there to go along with the festival. They've got food, vendors like that, things for the kids to do. So this is very family friendly and just beautiful. They fly the balloons. It's all in the sky. They kind of do it towards the, dusk. So it's this beautiful sunset. All the balloons are in the air. You can ride them yourself or just check them out, and it's just a really good time if that's something that sounds good to you.
Yeah, so you mentioned like Snoopy, and
Yeah.
I've seen like Mayflower moving trucks.
Oh, yeah.
All sorts of stuff.
Huge,
So it's
yeah.
not just your typical hot air
Right.
balloon.
Yeah.
These things are pretty creative.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. All different shapes. Yeah.
And you know what makes this so cool for RVers? That it's not just a balloon festival. A lot of RVers go there.
Yep.
And the vendors set up for RVers.
Yes.
You know, so
Catered.
it's kind of like going to Courtside or one of these big shows that kind of,
Yep.
it's for RVers, but they sell housewares and other interesting
Right.
things there.
Right.
Kind of the same platform.
Yeah, it's neat.
So it's definitely worth checking out.
Oh, yeah. You can buy your tickets online.
Yeah, we used to know a guy who used to go there every year to sell stuff, and
Yeah.
he loved going there.
It's so cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I've never been myself, but I'd like to go one of these times.
I would too. I really would.
So it's not just the balloons. The balloons are, part of it, but it's everything else. So again, it's that entire package.
Exactly. You get a lot with it.
It's family friendly, and heck, this would be a great place to have a party.
It would be.
Get 20,
wouldn't it?
30 of your friends to go and
How fun would that be?
Yeah.
Yeah, memorable, very.
go out in the desert and tear it up.
Tear it up.
Okay, yeah, so there's a lot there. New Mexico in itself is a pretty cool place.
Yes.
So, from Albuquerque or the Balloon Festival, you could do a lot of day trips from there. You could
White
turn this
Sands.
into a trip,
Very much so.
go for a week or two.
Yes, you should.
And a lot of day trips, or maybe go to another part of the state. New Mexico, like I said, it's really cool. A lot of
It's very
things there.
cool. Very, very cool.
So I would definitely go there. And and we've talked about it before. The problem Alexis and I face is we're always reading this stuff,
Yeah.
but our list is only so big.
Uh-huh.
Her and her husband, they got their lives. Mine, Karen, and I have our lives, but there's not enough time in the world to go do all this stuff. So it's like trying to pick sometimes. I want to go someplace different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go here. No, let's go there. Let's go here.
Yeah.
Let's go there. Then we probably just end up going to the same old
Yeah.
Joe's campground.
Exactly. Because we know it's good.
And we're guilty of it too.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, so put it on your list. And that's what it's doing, is put it on your list. Gives you something to look forward to. Maybe you get there, maybe you don't.
Exactly.
So we'll see what happens. That's going to bring us to, wait a minute. Don't forget to check out RV Destinations Magazine. I know they're going to have something on this.
Oh, they've got to.
This is definitely on their radar, because those balloons with the sunsets or the sunrises, the colors, I know they're going to have in their magazines with beyond a shadow of a doubt. So go to rvdestinationsmagazine.com, go to their website, and sign up. It's a subscription that's worth the money, and you can also get a physical copy as well. All right, now that leads us into RV Envy, and we're going to talk about RV levels and blocks. Yeah, I've talked about this before, and I did a whole episode on it, but it's just a reminder. When you have an RV, you're going to a campground, depending on where you go, how you level your RV is going to be different. Motorhomes, a lot of them just have levelers on them, pretty simple. Some fifth wheels, bigger ones, more higher end ones have levelers on them. Some people put levelers on their RVs, and I'm talking about automatic levelers. Most trailers and fifth wheels come with a scissor type jack to stabilize it, not necessarily level it. You can cheat a little bit with it, but not a lot because of the weight rating. But you generally have to carry blocks and levels, things to make your tires, lift them up off the ground to level the RV. And there's a lot of them out there, but Camco, Valterra, I can't believe I can't think of the other one. They're orange ones. And they were the originator of it. I can't believe I can't think of it. So the company that makes the orange one, they were the first ones on the block to make these things. Kind of get it? Block, leveling blocks. Little pun there. But anyway, so you need these things regardless. You know, when you go to campgrounds, list every campground is perfectly level or almost.
Is it Trilinks?
Trilinks, that's it. That's the one, the orange block. So Trilinks was the original one on the scene, the inventor, the creator, the king of the category, as they say. But, you know, consider having these things. Wood works fine, but it is heavier, splinters, harder to clean, and wood anymore is so expensive it's almost more than plastic. So the blocks just make a great alternative. And stay away from the cheap ones, the low-quality ones, because they're just going to break and they're going to leave you upset. Why did I waste my money on these? Buy the good ones. Don't learn the hard way. And all your RV stores typically carry the brand names that are good, but check it out. Leveling blocks, levelers, they're important to have. Keep that RV level, and they're not as hard as it looks unless you go to these really wild campgrounds that like one side of the RVs needs to be raised up a foot. Then you need a whole bunch of wood, you know, because leveling blocks will work, but probably too expensive to do that. But anyways, just look at your, go to your local RV store, see what they have for leveling blocks, levelers, if you don't have them, if you're not using them, if you're not sure why you'd ever want them. Well, that's why, to help you level your RV. If you go to the right campground, you might just have to throw one underneath the tire, two underneath the tire on one side or both tires, and you get out your scissor jacks, you know, you can stabilize it and level it a little bit. You don't want to put all the weight on the scissor jack, but you can fudge that a little bit. And remember to keep your bullseye level in the refrigerator. That's what you're leveling, the refrigerator. If your refrigerator's level, the RV should be level if it was built correctly. So level the refrigerator, not the RV. Unless you've set up levels on the side of the RV that match the refrigerator, which a lot of people don't do that. Now, as a reminder, check out our YouTube channel. If you type in the Smart RVer on YouTube search bar, we will come up. Watch our videos. They're awesome on how to do things, what parts to buy. Really, it's geared, it's like the podcast, except a visual version of it, just trying to explain things to you in a way that helps you make good purchasing decisions, or some hacks. Like recently, we did a valve or a little hack on the 3-inch valve. We got another video that will probably be out by the time you hear this, that's about another hack on 3-inch valves to get away from using drain valve lubricant. So there's always videos in the queue, and hopefully they're out when we talk about them. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. We're a lot going on here. Pay attention to our YouTube channel, like the videos, and subscribe. Definitely be worth it, and share it with your friends. So next episode is going to be 144, and the title of Staying on the Road is, I think it's time to go into maintenance mode. New RV sales are plummeting along with quality. So we're going to dig into this and really talk about what's going on with new RV sales. So it's been a great show, and I want to thank Alexis for coming in today. Not feeling so well.
It's been fun.
It's always fun. This is the Smart RVer Podcast. This is where fun starts. All right, so this is Eric Stark with the Smart RVer Podcast. It's been great hanging out with you today. If I don't see you on the road, let's connect at thesmartrver.com.